Hello and welcome to another episode of the Appelboom Bites podcast. Today is episode number 37 already. It's the first episode of our new season. So we had this little summer break. It's still hot here in the Netherlands. It's 30 degrees Celsius today. As you can see here all over my head, it's really warm. But we are happy to be back after a long summer break. On this episode, we immediately have a new co-host, and I would like to welcome him. It is Tim Steiner, aka Hemingway Jones. Hemingway Jones, welcome on the show.
Thanks,
How are you
Joost.
doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me. I'm absolutely delighted to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And we start off this whole podcast series with you as a co-host because you will be here with us for 5 episodes with an
very
amazing
exciting.
guest because we have the one and only Jeffrey Velker, the CEO and co-owner of Retro 51. Welcome, Jeffrey. How are you
Thank
doing?
you. I'm doing great. Thank you very much for inviting us, or me.
Yeah. It's great to have somebody from Retro 51 here on the show and talk about the brand because I think there's a lot to learn. But before we start, we always do the pen check, and I would like to ask you, Hemingway Jones, to start with your first pen check. So, which fountain pen do you carry with you today?
The pen check.
Oh, sure. Today, I have the Pelikan M600 in red tortoise, which is just a stunningly beautiful pen. One of these pens that when you're writing with and you look down, you see the gold glittering and the beautiful material that makes up that red tortoise. Just absolutely stunning.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Thank
What
you.
nib do you have on it?
Well, I hate to tell you because I know you always criticize my nib sizes, but it's a medium, so I know you like broader and more dramatic nibs, but
Yeah,
it's
but you know,
it's
everything
incredibly smooth.
has their own favorites. That's okay.
Sincerely.
That's okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, Jeff, what fountain pen do you carry with you today?
Today I'm using our new Black Nickel Executive Series. It's a platinum plated trim, platinum look plated trim, very clean looking, and the nib I have on here is our 1.1 because I also like a broader nib. We did just introduce a 1.5 that I have on another fountain pen that I use on a regular basis as well. But the nice thing about this, good weight, good balance, good textural feel. Even though it looks smooth, it holds where you want it in your hand, and it just has a really good balance in writing.
It looks really pretty. And I think there's also companies with a rollable pen or not?
Yes, it's actually available, pencil and a roller ball. You can buy them individually, and the pencil and the roller ball are available in a set, but the fountain pen is separate, so you can get your choice of nibs all the way from an extra fine up to a 1.5 broad.
It's
Very
really
nice.
nice. I really like that you are offering more nib widths instead of only medium. You know, just go wider.
Yes,
That's a good thing.
found out that we use Yovo nibs. I found out that they had the 1.5, and I tested it in a different pen at a pen show and was like, oh, I have to have these. So I just buy one when I can just order them and offer them to our clients as well.
Yeah, it's much better, you know, and it uses a lot of ink, but it's all worth it. It's all worth it. Let's go to my pen check because I also have a Retro 51 here with me today. It came in this beautiful
Ooh,
gift box. It's the
very
Winnie the Pooh
nice.
edition. It is the Retro 51 Winnie the Pooh Decorations edition because there are actually 2 of them. And as you can see, it has all the figures of Winnie the Pooh and his friends here on the pen, which is really nice. Jeff, can you tell us a little bit about this collaboration with Winnie the Pooh?
Well, Winnie the Pooh actually went into public domain this year, so there was no collaboration needed. The original book, went into public domain. So we were able to take that, and we originally launched a 3 pen, 1 pencil series that came in a decorative box that basically laid out the whole story exactly from the book with quotes from the book. And then one of the comments that we got was that there was a lot of words on there and they liked the pictures. So then we decided to launch this, which is a decoration. And it's basically the book laid out in picture form, all the different pictures from the book itself directly.
Mhm.
Wonderful.
It's really nice. It's really nice. I received some comments on it, and I can ask you here straight away because there's one little friend missing, and it's Tiger. Where's
Yes.
Tiger?
Tigger was not actually in the original book. Tigger is actually a Disney creation when they took over the brand. I'm not exactly sure what year that was, but Tigger is not in public domain and was not in the original book.
That's why. Yeah, that's a good reason that he's missing. That makes sense. That makes sense at all. It was made in 2 editions, right? So you have this one and the Acrewood.
Yes, we did the 100-Acre Wood, which was a limited edition version, and that one, the basically is just the map of the 100-Acre Woods. And what that did was it basically, showed the whole map. And, it was just a way to help celebrate Winnie the Pooh. I know a lot of us grew up with Winnie the Pooh. I know it's still very popular among children. And so it was just kind of iconic, something we wanted to do, kind of as launching kind of a literary type series that we'll be doing in the future.
It's a really nice series. Hemingway Jones, you have a lot of books behind you. Is Winnie the Pooh also in there somewhere?
You can find it on my daughter's bookshelf. I have a 6-year-old, so she does have it. You won't find it. There's a few Roald Dahl behind me. I don't know if you're doing anything with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in the future, but that's all you'll find on mine. I do like that, though, Jeff. You do a lot of interesting things. I notice you do it seems you do a lot of licensing of like the Rocketeer and things like that.
Yes. The Rocketeer was pretty unusual in how that was because Disney actually owns the license to the Rocketeer. However, for the anniversary, the Dave Stevens Foundation negotiated with Disney for them to take the license for I believe it's the 40th anniversary of the comic book. And we paired up with a company called Octo, and they brought us the license, and we did the pens with them. But they also did posters, watches, some custom helmets, things of that nature. But what it did was it also kind of started a relationship with Octo where they are going to go to some of those more classic type cartoons and things from, basically when, I'm a little over 50. So basically when I was growing up, and they have some interesting things in the works that they're going to be doing. It probably won't be licensed through us, but they'll be doing some exclusives with us. So they'll be available on their websites.
That's great.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. All right, before we start talking a little bit more about Retro 51, our previous guest, which was Nikki Pesro from the Pen World magazine, had a question for you, Jeffrey. And the question was, what has been your best summer pen venture?
There's been quite a few of them. As in venture, I think of traveling. So we've attended the New York Now show, which we were able to show off our full line of products to potentially new customers. And we've made some good connections there with crossing over into some different industries and some other interesting products that we're going to be able to offer through Retro 51 in the near future. Kind of going back to some of the things that George, the previous owner, did in the roots of Retro 51 with some desk accessories and personal carry type stuff. We just got back from the San Francisco Pen Show, which was phenomenal, and a lot of energy. And while we were not at the Washington D.C. show, I heard there was a lot of energy there. So it's nice to see that our industry is surviving COVID and coming out of it. And I think in the next few years it'll rebound beyond where it was prior to COVID.
That's really nice. Yeah, those pen shows, the DC show and the San Francisco show, they were really close to each other, and I heard a lot of great feedback about those shows. So
Yes,
it's really good.
Yeah, August is a busy month.
Oh, yes.
It sounds like summer, like a summer break. Take it easy, but eventually you're just traveling the entire country to visit all those places.
Yeah, with New York now, Washington D.C., Dallas, or San Francisco, and then Orlando just happened, and then we would have been traveling 6 out of the 8 weeks. So
Yeah,
it was
wow.
a bit too much.
Yeah, it's a lot of traveling. But luckily, we're going now to the how do I say this? To the holiday season, because in a few months, if I look outside, I cannot imagine it yet. But then it's snowing, and it's winter time, and it's Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that. So everybody needs a gift. But Jeffrey, why do people need to buy a Retro 51 as a gift?
Well, I think the draw to Retro 51 is we have a pen pretty much for everybody. Whether you are in the planes, we have the P51, the P47, the Corsair, or if you're into more arts and flowers and things of that nature, we've had some poppers with Katie Klassman, where she did our popper from last Mother's Day that was beautiful. Kind of a chalk drawing that we try to emulate. Historical, we have the Harriet Tubman, the Nikolai Tesla, just other historical figures. And then we have our just our classic lacquers that are just simple, clean look that, you can actually personalize with a pretty low minimum. And you can do it for your company. You can do it for an individual. We only have a 25-piece minimum on those. So, if somebody's interested, they could go through Appelboom and say, hey, I want custom retros, and we can do them for you through us. So
it's really impressive, that you have this this low minimum order quantity, because usually if you want to have like something, specialized or like adjusted for yourself, you have minimum order quantities that are way bigger.
Yeah, and I should preface this that that's for something that is more of like we did this one for I think that was for Octo actually, and we could do just a message on there or your logo or anything, something simple in a small space that it's that. But if you wanted to do a full-blown custom wrap, we're still able to do that for customers. We just did Uni Pizza Ovens just did one that they did 1,000-piece run, and it was a full custom wrap and everything. But those minimum quantities are in the 300 to 500 range. So there is variance in that, but simple branding, we can do a pretty low minimum quantity on it.
Makes sense. Jeffrey, let's go a little bit back about the beginning of when you and 2 others took over the company. I think it's now 3 years ago. How's it going now? Because at the start it was all exciting and everything, but now we're 3 years later. We are past COVID, and how do you see the future of Retro 51?
Well, I think the future is really bright. I mean, myself and Adam Feiner and Joe Corona all, we went into this excited about Retro's future. I mean, if there wasn't a future that we saw, then, it wasn't a good business opportunity. All of us have our strengths. My background's all operational, supply chain management, just management. Adam's is all creative. He's a director. He's a copyright professor, and Adams is all financial. He's an SBA banker, and has all that. So we're very well rounded, and we can bounce ideas off each other. But the nice thing is Adam's been collecting retros since, I think, in the early mid 2000s. Joe's been collecting retros since about 2015. I only bought my first retro in March of 2020 because somebody stole a pen off my desk where I was working, and I bought a retro stealth and had it monogrammed so no one would steal it, and got it in. And it's like, wow, this is really nice for a $30 pen. And what brand's this? And started doing research and bought a few more, and found the previous owner's letter in Pen World magazine that he was going to retire the brand. And in June, I called him and said, I just found your brand. I think it's amazing. And, would you allow the right person or group of people to continue it? And we were able to put a deal together through COVID and close in January of 2021. So it was a pretty whirlwind
story.
2020.
That really is. It's funny. I know many people who collect Retro 51 pens. Pretty much every model that comes out, they buy. But you're the first person I met who decided to collect Retro 51. So well done.
Well, and luckily I have a very, very, very supportive wife. My wife, Deanna, is amazing. And
that's great.
She's like, so you bought one pen, now we're buying the company and moving.
Right, exactly. What a story. I mean, if you were writing the story, that would be the headline.
And so, ironically, when we finally unpacked all the boxes in our new house in Dallas, we found the pen that I thought was stolen. So,
that is ironic.
Wow.
So,
wow.
That happened. So I guess it was Gizmo. It was meant to be.
Yeah, it was just meant to be, that you lost that pen. It's an amazing story. I really like that. But what's also amazing is some new products that we have.
New products.
And we need to talk about that. So let's start right away with the first one that I would like to announce, because that's a Montblanc. It's a new Montblanc Writers Edition of 2023. It is dedicated to Robert Louis Stevenson. He was born in Edinburgh, Scotland in 1815 and had two great desires: freedom and immersing himself in other worlds. I have it right here. Mr. Stevenson composed essays and travel accounts, as well as his legendary adventure stories, populated with striking characters whose names continue those end of shiver down the spines of readers around the world, like Long John Silver, Captain Flint, Jekyll, and Hyde. Let's have a closer look at the fountain pen. I have it here. The novel Treasure Island was the main inspiration for the fountain pen, as you can see, because the overall shape of the writing instrument and the rings on the cone combine to create an impression of a historic extendable spyglass, as you can see. The black precious resin barrel is decorated with engraved crosses, including a larger X, like the one marking the location of the treasure on a map. The vertical lines on the cap bring to mind the planks of the schooner Hispaniala, and a traditional sea chest adorns the cap. Behind the platinum-coated clip, the lines converge in a compass rose, while the clip imitates the shape of a belaying pin, to which the lines of a ship's rigging would be secured. The cap top is crowned with the Montblanc emblem, emblemized with the pirate's symbol, a skull with and crossbones elevated at its center. The cap ring is adorned with an engraving of Stevenson's signature alongside the publication dates of his first work, The Penned Land Rising, that was in 1886. And last but not least, The 18-karat gold nib is rhodium coated and is engraved with fine waves, and the title given by the Samoans to the great writer and world traveler Tusitala. Hemingway Jones, tell us, what do you think of this new writer's edition by Montblanc?
I think it's absolutely brilliant. And many times these come out and they tend to be a little over the top. What I really
Mhm.
like about the Robert Louis Stevenson one is that it's beautiful and elegant all on its own, even
Mhm.
if you didn't know the associations. So it's one I'm really excited about and hope to get my hands on at some point. I'm sure it's a brilliant
What I
writer.
really like is that Montblanc did this with their.
Yeah, the Jolly Roger there in the middle of the Glacier Star. I like that they're confident enough with their branding that they don't mind riffing on it and doing some different things. A lot of brands are just, they won't touch their logo, but Montblanc seems to be out there with having a little fun with it now and again. So it's absolutely beautiful.
They're okay with playing around with this.
Absolutely.
We have it in stock now. You can order it. We can ship it right away. So if you're interested in it, you can order it with us. Another pen that I would like to introduce is after the announcement in August of the M600 Glauco Carbon and the M205 Rose Quartz, Pelikan also announced a third fountain pen, which is the Souverain M600 Red-White fountain pen. Since 2012, Pelikan has bringing bold, bright colors married with white resin to the M600 line, including the Tortoises releases. Over the past few years, the mid-sized M600 line is arguably one of the brand's most exciting at the moment. Pushing past the pastels, the new M600 Red White will come in a bold and striking shade arranged in stripes made of cellulose A-stab, accented by white resin and gold-plated furniture. The new model will be available from mid-October and is a special edition which is only available as long as stock lasts. Because of this popular color, we expect it to be sold out rather quickly. Hemingway Jones, you already have an M600 in your pocket. What do you think
I
of this one?
do. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I try not to be tempted by new colors when they come out, but with something like this, it's hard not to. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. That material is great too because it has a certain warmth in your hand that when you
Mhm.
do those extended journaling sessions, you don't find your hand getting as sweaty as some other pens that don't seem to breathe the same way. So I'm a huge fan of Pelikan, and this one looks absolutely brilliant.
It is really nice. It is really nice. Jeffrey, if you have to choose between those two pens, which one would you pick up?
Uh, Actually, I probably would pick up the Mont Blanc. I really do like how they weave a story with that, and there's a lot of tie-ins with how retro does it, but also
Mhm.
they're at another level, obviously. Um, but that one really captivates me because Treasure Island was always one of my favorite stories and books. Um, and the way that they did put the Jolly Roger in their emblem, I think that's really cool and kind of shows that they're not a stuffy type company. They're wanting to become younger and play a little bit. Um, that pen just really speaks to me. It's very pretty.
I can imagine that because honestly, when I was writing this down and everything, and I was thinking about it, I was like, but Retro 51 could make such a pen. It's like it's really in the Retro 51 style with the storytelling behind it and everything. It is something that you could have done.
Yes, and we've done different things. Like we just launched our Nikola Tesla. Well,
Mhm.
David Oscarson did a Nikola Tesla, and it's gorgeous. It's completely different than ours, and there's room to play with different interpretations of things. And everything that retro does is wrapped around the story. Our limited releases, the numbers normally mean something in one way or another that's tied to it. And Mont Blanc doing the same thing with that is a really good idea, and it's a way that involves the customer not just in the pen but in the whole story and gives them a narrative when they're talking about the pen as well.
How does that process work? at Retro 51. You know, this whole storytelling thing. So you guys sit together and you're like, okay, we're going to bring out this Nikola Tesla pen. What do we need to put into the pen?
Well, with that one in particular, we did some, just did some research and found pictures, and because a pen is a physical thing, so you have to go to physical objects with it. And I thought I had one in here. But with Nikola Tesla, the way we did it looks like his coil. And one of the most famous pictures of him is sitting in front of his coil, which is actually the label. And, there's bringing to light, some of the things, he was such an ingenious person, but died in obscurity and died broke because he was so far ahead of his time, and his technology is just coming into use today, over the last 20 years. And, it's just, such an inspiration to be able to show people that. And, even if it just sparks an interest, even if they just like the texture of the pen, there's a story that goes with it.
No, but it's really important, I think, that story behind those pens. And I was just wondering, is that something that you already know or that you really have to dive into and make this whole research about it?
A little bit of both. The nice thing with Joe, Adam, and myself, we bring new ideas to the table. Richard Kohler, the designer, has been here since '99, and he has this already formatted in his head of how to kind of get from a concept all the way through to the end product. And it's just a matter of, hey, what do you think of this? Or when we're doing research on like Harriet Tubman, are one of our latest ones in the Vintage Metalsmith series, we were trying to get something that ties in and is iconic with her, and her headscarf is every picture she had on her headscarf, and it's kind of symbolic of her. So the Harriet Tubman is modeled after her headscarf. And if you haven't had the opportunity to hold that pen, you wouldn't realize this, but we wanted the paint to feel like fabric. So it has a soft texture to it. And it has kind of more of a warmth to it than you would like this one. This one has like more of a cold feel to it. But the Harriet Tubman has, sorry, I was looking at my lineup of pens on my desk to see if I had that. Harriet Tubman has a warmth to it, and that's something you don't know. And one of the things that I like about retro is the one comment we see all the time online is, wow, this really stood out to me, but it's so much better in person. It's so much better in person. And, there's details and things that we put in there. Like this one, is the Tudor armor. Well,
yes,
it's a very nice, beautiful black and gold pen. But
that's with the Met, right? You did that in collaboration with the Met, yeah.
Well, what you can't see is all up and down in this, inside of there, is very fine detail of it. So until you have it in your hand and you really can look at it, you don't see those details in there. And that's just something that, we put the details in. We take the time and we put the details into things so that people have that, because I want them to have that, wow, I got to buy that experience online. But then when they get it in their hand, I want them to be reassured and even more excited that they have it in their hand because they're noticing different things on it.
That's really nice. That's really nice. What I also noticed, this little trend, is that more and more editions come out as a fountain pen. Back in the days, it was mainly the rollable pen, but now more and more we see the fountain pens. Is that something also for the future, or?
Yes. Yeah, one of the things, there are, I think, 5 or 6 different Facebook groups dedicated to retros, and we're members of all of them, and we watch them, and we actually listen to our customers, and our customers are asking for more fountain pens. They're asking for more acrylics, and we're doing some testing on some acrylics. We have a couple of very limited edition ones, or very small batch runs, I should say. They're not limited edition, they're batch. So just small batch that we're pairing up with Heinz pens to do. And just to test to see where, if there's a demand, because sometimes, on the internet, one person will say, yeah, I really want more of this. And then other people will chime in. And then you put it out there and it really doesn't sell because it was, so we want to make sure that it does before we launch it out to everybody. So we're looking at a lot more acrylics and more fountain pens. That's kind of where the Buzz fountain pen came from. That's one of our best-selling roller balls that's been in the line since 2018. And it's just a beautiful pen. And when we launched in the fountain pen, it's come out and it's been very popular as well. So, getting those fountain pens out there, because I think we really punch well above our weight in our fountain pens. And because we use a Yovo nib. Yovo nibs are on some pens that are $400 or $500. We're using the exact same nib. We have a solid construction on them. They're designed well. They write well. So our fountain pen popularity, I think, has a lot of room for growth.
That's good.
Yeah,
what percentage?
I agree on that.
I'm just curious, what percentage of your sales are fountain pens? Is it a small minority compared to the rest, or is it, I don't know what it is. What is it?
Actually, fountain pens are right around 8 to 10%, depending on what it is. So it is a very small minority of our overall sales. Rollerball by far is what Retro is known for and will remain known for.
Sure.
Because things we design in a rollerball, we're moving into fountain pen. Rarely do we do a fountain pen as a standoff or a one-off type thing. But that's, there are designs that lend themselves to fountain pens. There's some designs that just don't lend themselves to fountain pens because of how our structure is on them, where you split the design, and it has to work with the design.
That makes sense.
And one of the things that is my criteria when we're doing a fountain pen is I want it to be beautiful when it's together. I want it to be beautiful when it's separated, and I want it to be beautiful when it's posted. So
that's great.
If you don't think of those 3 steps, how you're holding the fountain pen, it has to flow in those 3 manners.
That's great guidance. It really is. It's like you stick to the
but
aesthetics.
it makes sense. It's a
there.
small detail, but eventually it's a really important part of this entire fountain pen.
Yeah,
it makes sense. Jeffrey, can you already give us a little bit of a sneak peek of things that are coming up?
Oh, we have a lot in the way. One of the things that's coming up pretty quickly is Halloween, and one of the pens that we did a couple of years ago was this one, which was the Sleepy Hollow. So, and then last year we did a Halloween pen with the USPS license.
And this year you will do a pen with my face on it.
This year we're going. No, I don't think it's your face. I wouldn't say that. But this year, if people thought this one was cool, wait till they see the next one, because this year is in this series, and now that people will know it's a series, it'll be the next one, and you can see.
When is it announced, more or less?
This actually will be announced to dealers the end of the month, and then it'll be available to the public October 3rd.
So we need
Great.
to be a little bit more patient.
So, and then we have some very interesting things we're doing this year for our Christmas pen. That's a very nice one. It's with a designer that we worked with in the past that created one of the most successful exclusives that we've done. So that's going to be really interesting. And then we're looking at doing a lot more acrylics, and some of those are going to be available come fourth quarter as well.
Really exciting, really looking forward to that. Hemingway Jones, do you have a last question for Jeffrey before we have to end the show?
Sure, I think I do, Jeff. If you personally, you're carrying a platinum today, how do you use your fountain pens in your own life?
I typically carry a rollerball just because it's just easier, and we're known for our rollerballs, and it just depends on which ones. Right now on the rollerball, what I'm carrying is one of our exclusives with another company that I just thought was really cool.
Nice.
I was carrying the Met Tiger rank badge just because I like that, and this also has that fabric feel to it, so it's a little bit warmer, and just ones that speak to me. And with the fountain pens, I normally have them laying on my desk, and I'll write with them when I'm making, more than just a quick note. I'll write with them in my journal, or if I'm writing out a business plan or an idea or a thought process, I'll use them to do that. The reason I use them for that is when I'm writing with the fountain pen, I tend to slow down, and I tend to I focus more on my handwriting, which makes me slow down in my thought process because, since, with running retro, it's, there's a lot of aspects that are going on, and I'm always being bombarded and pulled in a lot of different directions. And I love it. By no means is that a complaint. So please don't take it that way. But there's a lot of responsibility that I feel towards the brand. There's a lot of responsibility I feel towards my employees and the people that helped build retro before I was here, and the people I'm bringing on to move retro into the future. And so, but when writing with the fountain pen, it slows me down. It just lets me focus on that one task at hand.
Nice. Yeah, that's nice. I'm happy to hear you journal. That's always good for you to.
I think
it sounds like you have a lot of healthy stress in your life with all your responsibilities. So journaling helps to get you back to center. It's good.
Yes, and even if it's just a mind dump, it doesn't make sense once you reread it. But it's just a mind dump, and it's just allows you to focus.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to write down your thoughts sometimes. Jeffrey, we're almost at the end of the show already, but as you answered the question of Nikki Passerov at the beginning of the show, you can come up with a question for our next guest.
Well, since I'm with retro, I'm going to base it around retro. Hopefully your next guest actually knows retro and has a retro, but what is their favorite retro? And if they don't have one, have them...
Why?
Why? Yeah, why? Have them look at our website, reach out to me, and I'll make sure they get one in their hands.
That's really nice. That's really nice. So I will tell you now who's going to be the next guest, because it's quite an interesting one. Because the next guest is going to be the CEO of Schaefer. It is Nikhil from India. So that would be a really interesting question for him. If he owns a Retro 51 and what is his favorite Retro 51, we're going to ask him some questions about Retro 51 for sure. Nice. Yeah.
I've not had him yet.
Jeff, thank you so much for being our guest here on the show. Tell us more about Retro 51. We're really looking forward to all those new releases coming up for the fourth quarter. And we're really happy with what you are doing now with the brand. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Hemingway Jones, thank you so much for being here together with us as a co-host. I will see you in the upcoming few weeks more and more. I hope that you don't get sick of me all the time, but
Not at all. I enjoy every moment hanging with you, Joost. It's always a pleasure.
That's good. That's good.
And thanks, Jeff, too. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I appreciate you guys doing this.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Everybody that's watching right now, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you won't miss out on an episode of our podcast. If you're listening to us through Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, make sure to follow us as well. If you're on YouTube, make sure to check out Hemingway Jones on YouTube because he has a lot of great content. And of course, if you have not bought a Retro 51 pen yet, then make sure to head over to appelboom.com and purchase their one. We're happy to help you with that. Everybody, thank you so much for watching, and we see you next week. Bye-bye.